Actually, the one thing, well, not the only thing, one thing that actually pisses me off and shocks the hell out of me is people's ignorance on in-body image stabilization. Unless you're a video shooter, which I know the countless advantages of having IBIS for video, and I don't do videos on video. It sounds kind of contradictory. IBIS mechanism has serious downsides. There's an article link below, and there are countless articles like it online, but I mean, you have no idea what an IBIS mechanism is. People all the time, and this is a real epic stupidity, and it's okay because people don't know what the hell an IBIS mech is. I call it the dancing sensor. You can never turn off the IBIS mech. Well, sure you can. No, you can't, because that floating sensor is not like the brakes on your car where you actually physically engage something mechanical. The sensor is always loose, so to say. When you actually get a shock, that sensor will move. There is no such thing as turning the IBIS mech off. Cleaning the sensor creates a new set of issues. The higher the resolution of the sensor, the more issues IBIS will introduce. Instead of having 2 stops of vibration reduction, instead of increasing your ISO and say extreme low light, you end up with 1 stop. 1 stop, right. The same thing with Fujifilm and others, Nikon as well. I'm not pointing out Fujifilm, but all of them. And this is an absolute goddamn fact. At higher shutter speeds, if you're using image stabilization, for example, it will actually introduce shake. You see, there's fundamentally no difference between image stabilization and a moving element in the lens than there is the actual moving sensor. It will introduce shake. It will actually cause your images to have a worse resolution. They will cause them to be blurry. Cleaning your sensor is an issue. If you knew what the hell an IBIS mechanism was, and if you're a video shooter, this video is not about for you. This is for photographers, okay? Not for video. I know the reasons of having IBIS for video, but you have no idea what that IBIS mechanism is. Those rails are covered in grease. You get your camera hot, that grease will actually migrate to the sensor. Interesting, isn't it? How did you think that sensor danced around? Did you think it was like floating on a cushion of air or something? What did you think? Did you think that when you weren't using the IBIS, that like brakes were put on and then like the sensor was locked into place? No, it's never locked into place. You really don't know what IBIS is. Photographers don't need IBIS. Thank God Nikon is not putting IBIS mechanisms into their cameras. Thank God for that. As much as I can't stand the countless stupidities that Nikon does, they at least know what the hell the countless downsides of IBIS are. Photographer, you're so lazy. I mean, well, this video is going to get a lot of downvotes, but honestly, how lazy are you? None of us back in the 90s, we were so glad to get lens stabilization. Hey, this is wonderful, but we didn't need that stuff. I mean, there was something called skills. And now with the fact that we have do you know what ISO invariance is? People say, well, I don't want to crank up my ISO. I'd rather have image stabilization. I'd rather have a dancing sensor. Last I recall, you have ISO invariance in most of your cameras out there, except for Canon. You know what ISO invariance is? People, I don't want to crank up my ISO, therefore I'd like to have IBIS and shoot at a lower ISO. Well, you have ISO invariance. Why the hell do you need a dancing sensor? You don't. I wish to God everybody that desperately wants IBIS had the brains and the mechanical wherewithal to actually physically examine an IBIS mechanism, and then they would understand, at least a little bit, oh geez, I understand why this guy doesn't want this crap in the camera. If you're a video shooter, great. Stick it in a video camera. Do you know that Panasonic's latest video camera, what is it, the GH5? It doesn't have IBIS. Do you know why there's not IBIS in the new Panasonic video camera? Because hardcore professional videographers didn't want that crap in their camera Why? Because of the countless downsides of IBIS. Stick that in your damn pipe and smoke it.